Hi there, I thought it might be a good idea to show you where I do all my recording. Now, obviously I can also use this as a bit of a slight educational video on what you could use in your recording studio to get a good sound. But I think one of the things that is well worth mentioning from the get-go is that you don't have to have anything like my studio to create great content. So anyway, let's go. Let's have a look. Oh, got to turn the light on. Okay. Oh, that was a bit of a letdown. It's not very bright, is it? Anyway, recording studio in use. So I don't know whether you can hear a lot of echo in here. So the difference that you'll hopefully hear when I go into my studio is how much deader the sound is. And I didn't realise how important that was until I did it. Right then, follow me and we'll go into the studio. Okay, or should I say into my home studio. Now hopefully you'll notice immediately that the sound is different. Now I'm going to go off and just leave you for 1 second and I'm going to close the door. And then you'll hear a bit echoey out here. And then when we close this door, there we go. Now the sound of the room is a lot more important than you might think. Now I've fought for years trying to get a really good guitar sound with microphones. Doesn't matter how good your microphones are, if you've got them in a bad acoustic room, then they're not going to sound, nothing sounds great. So what I've got here is I've got acoustic glass, so it's proper acoustic double glazed glass, and these are also acoustic curtains. We've got acoustic treatment, this is all specialist acoustic treatment in the room here. I probably could do some on the ceiling, but what I didn't really want to do was completely deaden the room. I didn't want it to be totally dead. I wanted it to have a little bit, just a tiny bit of life, not too much. Now the thing is I do voiceover stuff in here as well. And in theory, really, it should be totally dead for doing the voiceover stuff. But for doing guitar, it works really well. For playing the drums, it works very, very well. And I think because this is a 1930s house as well, we've got the height in the ceilings. So the sound sort of travels around the room in a nice way. It's also a wooden floor. Now that helps. There's a big gap under the floor as well. So that just helps with it all. Now we've got something called bass traps as well. So these are things that you put in the corner of the room and they stop the bass frequencies accumulating, I think that's what it does. I think it also sucks them in and stops them from, resonating, I suppose that's what it is. So in my music room we have my drums. You've probably noticed those on a lot of my videos. Now these drums, I don't know whether the guy in the shop was having me on, but he said that this was the actual kit that the fun-loving criminals used. Now, yes, I've seen on some of their videos them using this kit, and he said that this was their tour kit. Now, the thing is, it could be just a signature series for all I know. There could be like 50 million of them out there, but I don't know. Maybe one of you viewers might know a little bit more about it. But I was told it was the actual kit, so, I'm not going to, say anything other than that. So that's what it is. Now, it's I think is it a KD Custom? Something like that. Yeah, KD Custom kit. And I've just noticed that tom is upside down because the leg goes the wrong way around. Okay, so I'll put the head on the wrong way around on that one. Yeah, that's interesting. So we've got Zildjian Cymbals, got a K series ride, which is from the 1980s. It's a really old ride. Got a Sabian cymbal crash here, which is out from the AAX series. Now we won this. I don't know whether you can zoom in on this, but me and my son, we went to a drum clinic, and I won't say where I live, but if you know where Carl Brazil lives, then Carl Brazil plays for Robbie Williams. He plays for a lot of other people as well. And we won it, and he signed the back of it. So you see, can you get in on that? Can you see that? Great. Okay, so that's from Carl Brazil. It's a beautiful sounding cymbal as well. I wouldn't just have it on the kit because it was signed by Carl Brazil. It has to be on the kit because it sounds good, and it does. So I've also got, making a bit of noise there, why not? I've got a K splash, which is a 10-inch splash. That's got a lovely little tone on that. This one, let's do this whilst we... No, that sounded bad. I think that's rattling on the... Oh, there you go. I know why, because that's got stuck. Bit better. Okay, so lovely little sound on that one. Nice sound on this. That one is a lovely ride cymbal as well. We have my K series hi-hats. And a special cymbal that I found. None of these, well, I'll say none of these. I don't think many of them are new. I think probably the Sabian was because it was a prize. That one was a second-hand cymbal, this one was a second-hand cymbal, and this one was a second-hand cymbal as well. So you don't have to go and buy new stuff. Now this is an Istanbul Agop handmade cymbal from Turkey. And it's a traditional dark crash. Now we do use it as a crash. I say we because my son plays as well. But we also use it as a ride. And it sounds lovely as a ride as well. So that's that. And I think my snare is slightly different because I think that's a Yamaha recording series or custom recording series. And then can't stress how important it is to have a really comfy drum stall. And not one that the cats have lay on. It looks like that needs a bit of a, clean. Anyway, nonetheless, I use and always have used Vic Firth, is it? Vic Firth sticks. Always use those. And there you go. There's my drums. So that's my drums. That's my drum kit. Anything that I've missed out that I can think of. Got a double drum pedal, but I don't really know how to use that. My son plays with that a little bit. And I try, but I'm getting on a bit, so it's not the easiest of things to sort of go for. Double drum pedal. I'm very much fixed into my single drum pedal person. And I found, because I had chemotherapy and radiotherapy, I noticed after that the feeling in my feet was going, and I couldn't get my feet to work properly. So I decided to swap over to, instead of playing flat-footed and then occasionally doing a full foot movement, yes, we're looking at my Crocs, my disgusting Crocs here, I decided to then have to use my whole leg on the right foot and on the left foot as well. So on the bass drum, I had to do that, else I couldn't get the timing right. And drummers do tend to need a bit of timing. So you might notice this is a bit of a strange desk. It's not your usual thing. Now this, I don't like to buy new stuff if I don't have to, but this desk actually came from Aston Hall in Birmingham. That's Birmingham, UK for any American people. And this was used as a computer desk, we think from about the 1960s, 1970s on. Or it could have been used as just an old style typewriter desk. I don't really know, but it looks to me as if it was actually designed for a computer because there's plenty of space underneath there, and there's these things come off, you see? These lift off, and there's plugs and things underneath there. There we go, see? And plugs and things underneath there, so it makes it sort of tidy, really. I mean, okay. A studio's never really tidy. There's always plenty of bits and pieces floating around. So anyway, I got this from a company called Reuse. Now, they basically take stuff. If you're going down to the, what do you call it, tip or dump tip, don't know, whatever you call it, you can sometimes find a store that's by the side of the tip that will take stuff that's got value and it's worth having and worth reselling, should I say. Now this was obviously, you shouldn't be throwing this away, and it's solid, some of it's solid oak at the bottom, or it's certainly solid wood. There are some bits that aren't solid, oak, some of it's MDF, so it must have been the very, very first MDF, and I know that was invented in 1950s, 1960s, can't remember now. So there we go, and what this enables me to do is I've got a Octoprix. Now that basically fits to my Apollo Twin. So this is my audio interface, which is the Apollo Twin. There we go. And that fits to my Octoprix, which is down there. Now I could break into, actually let's break into the desk so you can see what this does. Oops, that's fell off. This is where my cat sleeps as well. I say sleeps, you know, doesn't always sleep there, but does sometimes have a bit of a kip there. So we've got my Alesis Q49 keyboard as well. So we shall unplug that. And there's a ring pull thing there. Get the phone out of the way and lift this up. It just about misses the monitor. And I don't know whether you can see behind there, but basically that's my Octoprix. See? Okay. So what that enables me to do is increase the standard 2 inputs from the Apollo Twin with another 8 inputs. Now the only issue with those inputs is that those inputs from the Octoprix aren't using the preamp that this uses. Now the Apollo Twin by Universal Audio has got amazing preamps, and preamps make a big difference to the sound. If you wanted to put a cheaper microphone into a good preamp, then if it would sound nice. If you've got a nice microphone as well, then obviously the two add up to make it even nicer. But really it's more important to have a good preamp. Okay, now the preamps, as I said, on the Octoprix, they're not as good. They're Focusrite. They're okay. They're perfectly good enough for recording drums. But what I have to do is set the input level really low on those. So they're set quite low, so we can actually give a bit of volume to the drums without causing any trouble. Don't want an overload, you see. Now there's nothing worse than a digital overload. It just sounds horrible. Whereas if you get an analog overload, it still sounds horrible, but it's not the same sort of horrible. You know, it's much worse with digital. So there we go. So now how do I get all my cables from one place to another? Well, we decided to rip the floor up and put a pipe from the back of here, from back of the desk to over here, which I've got my patch bay. There we go. So I've got 8 microphones onto the drums, and the microphones, I didn't mention those, but they're Audix microphones, and they're a slightly higher version with the overheads. There's 2 kits from Audix microphones. One's got a slightly cheaper overheads, the other one's got a slightly more expensive overheads, and these are the slightly more expensive ones, and they do make a bit of a difference, and I can use those, and I don't think they're a matched pair, but I think you can use them as a pair to record guitar as well, which is very good. So then we will move on to my screen setup. As you can see, I'm as blind as a bat, so I need very large screens to actually see anything. So I think that's a 32, I think that's a 40 something, and that's something else. And look at what we've got on my screen there. We've got Millie, we've got Lara, Studio Cats. They both, actually, this is a bit strange because they both fell asleep on my keyboard, and I placed her leg on top of Lara. You see? So it looks like she's out there having a bit of a nice cuddle there, whereas really I think they were hissing at each other just before that, and then they just fell asleep for some reason. Anyway, framed, nicely framed there. So what do I use for my outputs? Speakers, I've got RCFs, I've had them a long time. Now, a lot of people have got lots of opinions on how you should listen and how you should mix. Now, when I mix my music, I do it two ways. I'll do it through headphones to get the stereo field, so to get the left and rights and all that sort of stuff, and to general mix it. And then I'll mix it on my speakers, the RCFs. There's a triangle here set up, a slight triangle. Now I sit in the middle of the triangle with the speakers coming to me, and I cannot stress again how important it is to have good acoustic treatment, or some form of acoustic treatment around where your speakers are. Now, it doesn't matter if you haven't got too much, but you've just got to make sure that you give it time to get used to it. Because if you're hearing things in your room that that transfer to the sound, transfer to the recording, you get used to those sounds, you'll get used to those, and they won't necessarily sit right with other people when they listen to it in their room, as it were. So what you really want to try and achieve is the sound of the room that you actually want, and notice that that is the sound that you're getting, rather than a very, very lively sound with lots of echoes in there and lots of reverberations and bounces backwards and forwards. So I think a dead room, not totally dead, but quite dead room, works really well for me. So then we move on to a few other bits and pieces that I've got lurking around. And as I said at the start of this video, all you really need to play and to create music is a vocal, as in a voice, a phone, and some form of guitar. I said guitar instead of, well, you know what I mean. And a dead room. Now this is why you'll see a lot of people doing video recordings of them playing guitar and singing in their bedrooms. Why do you think that is? Well, it's quite obvious, because there's a bed in the room and there's carpet on the floor a lot of the time. So you will get quite a good sound in there. I've heard some people as well doing videos in the bathroom, which goes sort of totally against it in a way. But then if you like the reverberation that you're getting and the sound in the bathroom, then do it. It's a good thing. So now we will move on to, I think my guitars are probably a good place to go to. And I say guitars, I haven't got thousands of guitars. What I've got is just what I need. And I used to have a lot more guitars than I have now, but I don't really need those. And I found out quite early on that having lots of cheaper guitars doesn't really make up for, having one good guitar. Until that one good guitar plays up, which we'll get to in a few moments. So my workhorse guitar is in this here case. So what we'll do is we'll get this out and I'll show you this guitar. Now, it's taken me years and years and years and years to manage to afford a guitar like this, of this standard. I should take this out of here. Probably open it the other way around. There. And it makes a difference to me. I'm getting old, so it makes a difference to me now. Because if I can't afford one of these guitars now, I probably never will be able to. And this is a Patrick James Eggle guitar. I think it says what it is on the. Do you know? I never really thought to see what it is, but I know it's quite a big body guitar. Patrick James Eggle. It's a Canuga, whatever that is, and it's 11391. That's the serial number of it, I suppose. So, and as you can see, it has been well used. Now I've got a bit of a problem with this guitar at the moment, and that is because when I was writing my songs, I stuck to, and my voice seemed to sort of fit to a lot of sort of straightforward standard low down the neck chords, which means you're literally hitting the same chord. I do a lot of A minor. And so what I've actually done here, I don't know whether you can see this on the video, but what I've done here is, if you can see the fret there, it's worn the fret out. And it's done that, I think, on the second fret as well, yeah, on the first string on the second fret as well. Now, this unfortunately makes it rather difficult to tune, which is a real shame. But this is a lovely sound. It is a lovely sounding guitar. Yeah, lovely sound that's got. Such a warm tone. And the thing about it that I really like is how light it is as well. It's such a lovely light guitar. He said to me, Patrick said to me that, because there's a story behind this guitar, because I went to a company or a music shop called PMT, and I don't know why I went, but I think it was just passing. And we basically started looking at some guitars and noticed that it was like an open day. So I think there was a lot of people in there. And Patrick, who didn't generally go to PMT because he's a well-known luthier, was there. And I was looking at some of the Faith guitars that he'd got, because his way of building a guitar is to have a detachable neck. So that's his key, his signature really, is that this has got actually a detachable neck. You can see the bolts inside it, I'm not sure, but you can see the bolts inside that. See, so this neck will come off, which makes one of the biggest problems with acoustic guitars. What can happen to an acoustic guitar is a problem associated with the neck, either moving or having a problem. Whereas you can replace this neck if you want to completely, or you can take it off, adjust it, make some adjustments to how it's fitted or whatever it is, and then put it back on, which really extends the life of the guitar a bit. So I don't know the woods, but all I know is they are lovely. And if you look at the back of it, the grain on that wood is gorgeous. And it all affects the tone of a guitar, or the tone of the guitar. Now, I haven't fitted anything to this at the moment. And when I was going through my chemotherapy, I was practicing until I could get it right, which is the Blackbird. Now, I think I put my finger there and I couldn't feel the ends of my fingers because of the chemotherapy, and I dug a hole into the guitar because I practiced to try and get it right. And I am very, very ashamed to say that I've done that. But what I might try and do is put like a pick guard on it. But it is a shame to do it. And these are all, these are like rosewood pegs. These are all made by hand as well, or well, maybe not, machine made probably. And this is a very valuable guitar now, and there's a good reason behind it. As he goes and perches it lets it fall over. No, best not do that. I think I'll put it down here gently. The reason why it's a valuable guitar is because Patrick James Eggle doesn't make them anymore. And he had I suppose it's like a sabbatical really in a way, where he went off making electric guitars, which is what he made. I mean, he made a guitar for Brian May, and he's made guitars for all sorts of people around the world. But he went off, or decided that he just wanted a change. So he had a change and started making acoustic guitars, and he made some amazing acoustic guitars. So as I said, I'm in this shop. Patrick James Eggle turns up, and I say hello, and I say, "Have you got one of your guitars, by the way?" And he went, funny you should ask that. Yes, I've got this one. So I took it into their little listening room and played it, and I didn't want to put it down. And that's the sign of a good guitar, or should I say a good match, more than a good guitar. It's a match between yourself and the instrument. And if you like playing it, and you like listening to it, and you like the tone, it will inspire you to write more music. It will inspire you to play more, and it'll inspire you to learn the instrument as well. And whilst I'm talking about that, one of the things that amazes me sometimes is when you've got a child that's interested in music, and the parent says, okay, well, I'll get you a guitar, I'll get you a cheap guitar, see if you like it. Okay, so they go and buy the cheapest guitar that they can get, but generally new. And then that guitar, the child picks it up, plays it, sounds horrible, puts it down. Seriously, that's the way it goes, unfortunately. And so I suggest, if a parent wants to give their child a good chance in learning to play an instrument, that they go and buy a second-hand one. Spend what you would have done on a new one, buy a second-hand one, take a musician with you maybe, if you know one, or a teacher that knows a little bit about musical instruments, and go and buy a second-hand guitar. Don't have to pay the earth. It's not about paying loads of money. What it is it's about inspiring the child to actually play, want to play the guitar. And seriously, if anyone's got a keen ear in music and they hear a bad sounding guitar that you can't get into tune, or even if you can get it into tune, it's made out of terrible woods and it doesn't project the sound and it doesn't sound right. It's all about the feeling, even at a very, very early age or starting point in music. So when you've not touched an instrument before, to get a nice tone out of it or a nice sound out of it, something that you're comfortable with, is very, very important. And the same goes with all other musical instruments as well. So we will leave that one there. So that's my Patrick James Eggle. And now I've got a bit of a workhorse guitar, and I went on holiday, and I don't know, I just thought maybe I should have a bit of a play on a guitar, and I ordered it online from Gear4music and had it delivered to where we were on holiday. And this is my Taylor. Now, this is probably a very start-up guitar. Okay, so this isn't anything special by any shake of the stick, as they say, but it sounds absolutely lovely. So I was watching a video about someone talking about Taylor guitars, and what they said was, because a lot of the Taylor guitars, well, I think all of them are sort of machine made in a factory, that even the lower quality guitars, which this is classed as a lower, it's got a lower quality wood on the top, and lower quality woods on the back as well, but they are all made by similar machines, so they're all made to a very high standard. So you've still got a nice sound. And this one sounds really good in tune, because I haven't quite worn the second fret out yet. Although, I have to say, you don't need a close-up of this, but it's going that way. I must just use A minor a hell of a lot, or I press down too hard. I don't know, maybe it's a common thing with guitars, I don't know, but wearing that fret out there, or the first fret on the second string, is just quite common for me. So this is electroacoustic as well, so it's got a pickup built into it. And it does sound very, very good. Now, if I want to do any recordings, I'll either mic that up, my PJE, or I will plug this one in, and then sometimes mic it up as well. Now, I've just got hold of a Fishman pickup as well, which is a Fishman Rare Earth pickup. Now, that's a guitar pickup that fits into the sound hole here. So what I was thinking of doing is actually plugging this beastie in and putting my Fishman in there as well, and then mixing the combined sound to try and get a stereo effect, putting one on the one side, one on the other side, and just seeing, well, maybe combine it a little bit and see how it goes. So anyway, that's one of my workhorse guitars, and I was very surprised how much I love it. And what it is it's a Taylor Big Baby. Okay, so if you're interested, this is an amazing guitar for a learner, and it's not that expensive as far as guitars goes. If I seem to remember, it was around the $500 or $600 mark. Okay, so I know that sounds expensive, but it's and it probably is, but from a guitar perspective, it's not. Okay, so that's that one. So I only really need 2 guitars, one with electric pickup, one without. I say this one needs a bit of work on it now. Now, then I move on to my electric guitars. Now, I'd always wanted, because I was a massive fan of Hank Marvin, as you've probably seen in my top 10 British guitarists, because Hank Marvin was way up there. And he always played a Fender, and he always played an American-built Fender, and he always played a Stratocaster. So I got a hold of a Stratocaster. Now, this isn't beaten up, because I try and look after things. So I'm not really a very good electric guitar player. However, when I'm recording something, and if I need a bit of an electric guitar, then I shall grab this and I shall use it and put it in. But it's not something I'm overly comfortable playing lead guitar or rhythm guitar in any sense, really. But I've got it if I need it, and I do use it sort of frequently, really, even though I'm not really keen on it. I'm playing that sort of stuff. But there we go. So that's my lead guitar. I shall bounce that back there. And then I've got my bass guitar. Now, this is a strange bass guitar because it's actually, I think it's is it China built or Mexico? Doesn't actually say. Hang on. Crafted in China. There you go. So it's a Chinese version. It's still Fender, and it's a Fender. I think it's a copy of a 70s guitar, and it's got these things which are, well, you can see these are called F holes. So it's a hollow body guitar, and it's got 2 big, I think, humbucking pickups, and it sounds really, really lovely. It's sort of somewhere in between a proper acoustic bass. I don't know if you've seen the acoustic basses where you've got like a proper hollow body and a bass guitar, and an electric bass, because obviously it's got a bit of both. It's got pickups and it's got a sound hole, so it hasn't got a pickup inside it, I don't think. I think it's just mostly these 2 pickups. But it does have a very unique sound. The reason why we got this was because we wanted to do, when I was working with the Audio Kings, we wanted to do like an acoustic set. And with the bass, the guy that played the bass didn't really want to be going and buying an upright bass because one, they're massive, and 2, they're very, well, you need a mortgage to buy one of those. They're very, very expensive instruments. So we decided we'd give one of these a whirl, and we're glad we did because it really works really well. Now there's no point in me playing this because it's not plugged in, so there you go. So that's my bass guitar, and I do use that on nearly all of my tracks because I do try to play the bass for them. There we go, that's that. Now my last guitar, so you see I've not got hundreds of guitars. I'm not a Rick Beato who's got like 9 million guitars all stuck on the side, and you can only play one, can't you, at a time. And this guitar, well, it's an Aria guitar. You can see in the sign there, it's got Aria written over it, or in it. And I bought this from the same place that I got this desk from, which is reused. So it's basically a junk shop. But it was absolutely mint condition, not a mark on it. The woods looked good and everything looked nice. Now, I don't play classical guitar in the way that you should sort of play. I mean, what they're going to do, they sit like that with that on the knee and play like that. So I don't do that. I mean, when I started playing guitar, because I was very young, I started playing with it on my lap, pushing down like this, which I just can't do now. But that's how I started playing, because I think I was young. So, but it's got a lovely tone. Now, if I'm recording something in my studio and I just want to add a nice bit of tone guitar, so these are nylon strings, see, because it's a classical guitar, or just like a bit of lead or a bit of something. If I think Lonely, I think the song that I just did called Lonely, which is out now. I used this to record a couple of bits, and then Thor Jensen added his wonderful lead guitar to it and warmed it all up and made it all beautiful. But so I got this from Reuse as a junk guitar. I think I still paid £100 for it. They knew what the value of it was, although it was still good value for £100. I don't know what that is in dollars, but nonetheless it's £100. And I replaced the strings on it, goes without saying, and replaced this, which is the bridge. And I sort of started to hack away at the bridge to try and get the intonation right. Now the intonation, don't need to go into that, but if you're a guitar person, you'll know what that means. It helps with the tuning, and it gets the length of the strings so that the tone is correct, and when you're playing that chord and this chord, they stay in tune. Yeah, and that does actually. It's not bad, but we do as acoustic guitar players and classical guitar players tend to have a lot of trouble tuning the second string, and so that's dependent upon the intonation of the guitar. And this is quite good. So set it up all nicely, and if I ever want the odd little bit of classical guitar, then I use this, and that's it. So those are my guitars. I think I haven't missed any guitars, I don't think. So we'll put that one back there gently. Then we move on to the main thing, the main thing, which is my voice, and that's singing. So I worked out a long time ago that having a decent microphone is quite key to the recording process, as well as the acoustics, very important as well as the preamp. So if you can, you need to try and balance all three of those. Have a reasonable microphone, a reasonable pickup, and reasonable acoustics. And all of those three make a difference to the sound when you're singing, especially. So what I've got here, over years of saving, I managed to get eventually going from an SE 3500, I think it was, and managed to move up to a Neuman. Now Neuman are supposed to be, well, I think they are, there's no supposed to be about it, one of the best microphones in the world that you can get hold of. I think they're German microphones, and this is a TLM 107, I think that's what that is. Now it's got some settings on the back of it. We don't need to look at the settings, but basically it has got settings, so you can select different sort of dynamics of it. So you can have it with a small polar pattern, so it only picks up in a small area. You can have a figure of 8, which will blank the sides, stop sound from the sides getting to it. And you can have a wide field. You do quite a lot with this microphone. There's quite a lot of settings on it. I use this for my voiceover work as well. And there we go. So that's what I use. Headphones and singing. Well, you're going to use headphones, aren't you, if you're going to be singing to a track. So you'll record your track, record your guitar, and you'll put your headphones on and you'll sing. And one of the things that can happen with that is you can sing a little bit flat. Maybe I'll save that for another video. We'll talk about that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my short tour of my small studio, and catch you on the next video. Thank you.